Hello and welcome back to the Canaries Chat channel. No match day vlog today, so I thought I'd quickly just jump on, do a quick reaction of the game in regards to Norwich 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1. I think it was, well, let's just start with team news. Nunez, I think was rotated more than dropped out. Obviously free agent, expect to play 3 games in a week is probably bit too much for him, so rotated out with Kenny coming back after a suspension due to that elbow against Queen's Park Rangers a few weeks ago where he served his 4-match ban. Apart from that, unchanged team for us. From what I could see, QPR made a few changes, but again they're kind of forced into those, with a few also rotated. I think Varane seemed to be the big surprise from Queen's Park Rangers' point of view on who was dropped. So yeah, I don't think anyone maybe saw the Nunez dropping coming, but it does make sense to rotate, especially with how many games we've had over the past few weeks and what we've got coming up as well. First half seemed very much like the second half of that Millwall game. First half of the Millwall game was very good. I think one of the better performances that we've seen. I think everyone recognised, especially when Nunez went off, that the second half of the Millwall game we dropped off quite a lot. I think we kind of seemed to just carry on from where we were in that second half of the Millwall game going into today. Didn't seem to have the kind of tempo and the pressure that we were doing. It wasn't like a terrible performance or anything like that. It just wasn't what we've maybe come to expect, especially at home. Like, we're 2 different teams at the moment this season. It seems to be home form's unbelievable, and that we seem to really get at teams, and then away from home it's just a completely different story. It just seems to be that we slightly slipped into more of our away performance than our home performance. Maybe it was just due to the amount of games that we've played recently, but having 2 home games in a row over the festive period is something that we really want to kind of try to capitalise on. In regards to that first half, I think it was Anderson for them, had a good opportunity, dragged it wide, a little bit of a warning shot for us. We had a little bit similar to Slimani, who kind of had a low drawn shot straight at the keeper. But again, there seemed to be no real urgency from us. There was a lot of standing, waiting for something to happen rather than forcing something to happen. I'm one of those people that I'm fine with us passing it around the back to create those pockets, to create those spaces, but there seemed to be quite a few times today where we were just standing there. Nothing else was happening. The ball was just at Doyle or Gunn's feet, just standing there, and there was no movement off the ball to help them, and they weren't trying to create anything or make sure something happens. And I think that's when the crowd do get on their backs. I mean, they get on their backs anyway, but that's a different story. But yeah, I'm fine with us playing the ball around the back, trying to create those spaces, but we weren't doing that today. We were kind of just standing there hoping something could happen. But yeah, towards obviously in the first half we had a QPR goal, another set piece, not shock at all. I think we had maybe 4 or 5 players all go for the same ball, and nothing happened. I don't think there was a QPR player within a couple of yards of all of those that went for it. Unfortunately, I think it took a flick off McLean and then just off Cernat. Nothing we could do in regards to the deflection going in for Cernat, but like 3 players going for the same ball. I know Doyle, McLean, potentially Duffy, I can't remember, were all going for that ball, and none of them committed to it hard enough to really just actually get it away, which was the really disappointing bit. But again, it's set piece, it's not surprising anymore. We really need to sort something out in regards to those, because it's just such a weak spot in our team in general. And considering we don't have a small team, Doyle, Duffy, and then when we bring on the likes of Barnes, we should be more than comfortable clearing our lines, but we're not. So going 1-0 down, again, I think everyone looking at X wasn't overly impressed. Second half, I think, was a bit more of the same. did seem to create a little bit more. That creative spark we've seemed to be lacking in places in that first half. We did create a little bit more. I think there's been question marks around science recently, around how his decision making maybe hasn't been what it was at the start of the season, and maybe that's since Sarge has kind of been injured, but we've really lacked kind of that decision making from him, and that showed in that keeper played it out. I know it's split seconds, so I don't hold it kind of too much against him that he then went to shoot at that tight angle. There was covering defenders, but I do think there maybe just been an outlet to lay it back, not necessarily to Hernandez, but I think it might have been Slimani, or there was one player that was sitting slightly deeper than Hernandez in that situation that he could have looked to get. But yeah, at the end of the day, split second, you don't know what goes through their head, so can't hold it against them too much. We did have a couple of more opportunities in that second half. We had Onel take a touch, should have at least got it on target or worked the keeper, dragged it wide. And then we had Duffy as well, which definitely was offside, but the liner wasn't flagging it. So we could have got away with one there. And then ultimately, Hernandez just teed it up for Nunez to sweep one into the bottom corner. I think it was deserved. I think QPR had a game plan. They executed it relatively well. But I think on reflection, the fact that they've gone away without a shot on target and they've still got a draw, a 1-1 draw, considering, I think they'll be really happy with. But personally, I think we could have got more out of that game, and it is just frustrating to see certain parts of the game that were so fluid a few months ago not shine through now. And I think there's a lot of kind of reasons for that, whether that's squad depth, whether that's rotation, whether that's fatigue. There's going to be many different reasons. I'd like to see us strengthen big time in January, get that CDM position and get that right wing position nailed down, which hopefully, by all intents and purposes, is what they're going to look to do. I think maybe one or two more signings to strengthen the team, not just the squad, strengthen the first 11, to make sure that we've got quality all the way through in regards to kind of the bench, the players that are coming off, are they making an impact? I think realistically we're going to see Gordon go back, Fashionat go to young boys, so there's definitely going to be wages freed up, a loan place freed up as well, so I wouldn't be too surprised if we dip into the loan market. But as I said, QPR, they are what they are. I think they'll be fine this season. It did just look like two mid-table teams having a scrap today, but yeah, I think QPR will be fine. Their game plan was to kind of rattle us, get into us, and force that draw, force that potential win. So I think they'll be relatively happy with that, and fair play to them for getting that point. And then yeah, we've just got to look to move on. Luton away next on Wednesday, so hopefully, again, Luton are one of those odd teams that you can get a amazing result against, or you could get a really shaky result against. They've still got quality players. I know they've had a faulty start, but they still do scare me a little bit in regards to what can happen. But yeah, if you've enjoyed this reaction, leave a like down below. Make sure you're subscribed. Hopefully a matchday vlog for Luton, but we'll see. I think Luton might be going to that, but not 100% sure. But apart from that, hope everyone has a lovely new year, and we'll see you in 2025.